And if you're just joining us, we are about to start our session. We're going to be talking about how we automate our production workflow, how we can kind of use some of the production features to work as best and most efficiently as we can in the system. And we're going to get started in about 1 minute. Hi everyone, welcome to the session. We're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Erin. I work with the customer success team at commonsku. Today we're going to be talking about how we automate our production workflow, or how we can make the production features in commonsku work super hard for us. With me today, I've got two wonderful speakers who are going to help me out with the session today. Brandy Johnson is the Director of Order Operations at Screenbroidery, overseeing roughly 400 plus purchase orders on average at all times. And Brandy, I think when we had spoken earlier, that also kind of sounds like it's maybe on the low end usually. So lots of work, working with multiple order managers and 6 sales reps, an expert in supply chain management and production efficiencies. Brandy's been with Screenbroidery for 6 years and was the company's first order manager. She's a vital part of Screenbroidery's growth and has been a pivotal person guiding their production and their company to a multi-million-dollar annual revenue. Liz Wimbush is currently shaping the production and vendor management processes as the Director of Supply Chain for both Right Sleeve Marketing and Genumark, working to prioritize sustainability, ensuring strong values are reflected in every buying decision. With her versatile background, Liz brings new perspectives and ideas to the operational side of distribution. Her experience in logistics management at CN Rail helped lay the foundation that she later built upon by starting and running a successful fair trade and organic cafe and bakery in Toronto, which makes me really depressed about the coffee in front of me because it's not good. And now I really want a much better cup of coffee. So thank you guys for joining us. We're gonna just have kind of an interview going on where I can ask you guys some questions. I may share my screen and demo a couple of the features as we're going through. But kind of just to start off, I'm going to start with the obvious question. What are the ways in which commonsku has helped you to automate your production process? How have you eliminated steps from your workflow? Brandy, why don't we go ahead and we'll start with you.
Okay, so when I first started here, we didn't have commonsku yet, and so we were keeping track of orders on multiple platforms. So we were using purchase orders through one platform, we were using spreadsheets. commonsku gives you a one-stop shop, right? So everything is in one place. Your production report gives you all the information so easily and allows us to be able to keep updated and ahead of where we should be on our orders at all times. So without having to shuffle between multiple things or make sure something didn't get updated here but did get updated here, now we have it all in one place in real time for our entire team to have visible to them. It also slows down all that, I need to check with this person and I need to check with that person and all those type of things.
Kind of having that internal communication makes things a little bit more streamlined, right?
Yes, absolutely. And stops people from coming, and interrupting when you're doing a million other things.
Right.
So everyone can be focused on what they need to do.
Totally. How about you, Liz?
Yeah, I think along the same lines as Brandy, some of the newer features that I found have really cut back on some of the workflow has been having the multiple preset reports. I know on our side, we have one production person who I oversee now, and we have, I think, about 12 sales reps that she manages the orders for. And being able to preset our reports by rep kind of cuts back on the amount of back and forth between her and the reps throughout the day, as well as giving it preset chunks of time to kind of manage the different reports through, so that there can be, 20 minutes focused on this report and then go back to emails, and 20 minutes focused on this report. And it kind of allows the workflow throughout the day to be more structured instead of just managing surprises as they come up.
Totally. So actually, while we're talking about that, guys, I'm just going to quickly show you guys what Liz is talking about, those pre-saved reports. So on the new production report, under your search tab, this is where you can come in and drop in all the filters you need to pull a report for the kind of details you want for the purchase orders. But what you have the ability to do, rather than coming into the system and having to spend a couple hours at the beginning of your day building out all of these reports, exporting them so that you have those details to work with, what you can do instead is come in, fill the reports out, out. So as an example, what I'm going to do is say, I'm going to build out a report for all of the purchase orders in the system that have a firm in hands date. This is something that I want to keep an eye on. So what I'm going to do is actually fill out all of my filters, get that report so that I can see all of the purchase orders in this case that are in production that have that firm in hands date. And then what I'm going to be able to do once it loads is click the save button that appears in the top right corner. What that does is it lets me save those custom reports up in the up along the top bar. If I click this save button, I can give this report a name. So for example, we'll call this one firm POs. We'll click save. Now that report with all of its filters appears in my top little bar. I can always come in and check it out so that I don't have to keep recreating those reports every time I need to see that information. You can save it, have it at a glance so that all that information is accessible right away. So that was a great one. Actually, kind of leading into this, Liz and Brandy, I wanted to ask what your common SKU production power feature is. What is the production related feature that has saved you the most time or streamlined your processes the most? Liz, I think we were just kind of talking about the open reports, but is there another feature that's in there that you were wanting to talk about?
Yeah, I think being able to easily open the overview of the sales order and tag people in notes is something that we use constantly. So being able to have that communication all in one place that gives the background as well, like being able to sort and scroll through all the different comments that have been left on an order, cuts down on so much communication, and in turn, like, you know, all the excessive emails that could be back and forth between what's happening with this order, where are we at with this. It's just so nice to be able to click into that. Like having everything hyperlinked in there is kind of our go-to.
Totally. Brandy, how about you?
I have to say the saved reports are saving my life, I think. They're so great because I can track so many different things, and I can run a series of reports in a really small amount of time. Also, for the folks, I have a project manager that works under my direction, and as well as another order manager, and I can set them up also to see things that are very specific to them. For me, I can see these jobs that are coming in that have firm in hand dates in advance, and just take a look at those and be meaningful in how we are targeting the jobs that need the most attention. It also, as a manager of other production people, allows me to see their work in quick time to make sure that our overall company flow is being efficient and well managed.
Right. I also think that one of the cool features that I like using as well are those next action dates, because the next action dates are so customizable in the production report as well. So you can use them to basically just explain whatever it is that we need to follow up with on that PO, but you can use them to label those purchase orders as anything that you want. So for people who do things like in-house production, like you guys do, I believe, Brandy, it makes it a little bit easier to break those purchase orders out and kind of group them together into easier categories to remember, right?
Yeah, totally. We use that too. It's the best.
Yeah. So, we have set up so many different things that we can't track any other way. And that customizable feature has been really essential, especially with the low stock issues that have happened, to our industry. And we have so many back orders that allows us to maintain, even that's one example, be able to maintain a list of those at all times.
And I think the next action dates are also some of the most customizable pieces there, so you can use them for anything that you want to label those purchase orders, which is cool. What I also wanted to ask about next is, and I think we're going to get a couple of different answers here. Do you find that the production pieces of Common SKU, whether they be existing or new features, kind of fall into place with the processes you've already built? Or do you find that you've kind of had to change the way that you work in order to fit with the workflow on Common SKU? Second part of that question, if you've adapted your processes to fit Common SKU, how do you feel like that has kind of set you up for success? Liz, I'll maybe get you to answer this one first, because I think you're in an interesting position to be able to answer this question as well.
Yeah, so when I joined the team at Right Sleeve, we were already using Common SKU, and being that Common SKU was kind of built for Right Sleeve initially, we were pretty fortunate to help provide the feedback as it was growing. So from our perspective, it falls pretty nicely into place with our existing processes,
right?
Especially as the sales team grew and the demand for the demand on the production management side increased. It kind of became more and more important to have that single point of reference, basically, in all the order information in one place. to make us successful. So
Right.
I think, the fact that including the proofs in Common SKU and being able to tag people in that, now being able to include multiple proofs in one go, so good. Stuff like that has really kind of flowed with our existing process and really helped us to be successful.
Totally. How about you, Brandy? Have you kind of felt like you've built your processes around Common SKU, or do they kind of fall into what you've already been working with?
Initially, it did kind of definitely flow in, but then obviously as we've been with Common SKU for last 5 years, and we do build our processes. And when we are considering things that we need to do or things we want to track, myself and the COO will sit down and be like, okay, we want to start tracking this. We want to look at this. What are those items in Common SKUs that we can use to do that? And there's usually a pretty efficient way to do it.
Right.
So I guess we are more in the track where we're forming our stuff around Common SKU, but I do think it makes us a lot more efficient. The linear vibe, I guess, of Common SKU makes it really easy to use for new people as well. So it flows all really well.
Yeah. And speaking of new people too, I think you were both in positions for a while where you were kind of each running the show when it came to the production department. And now it sounds like you guys are starting to bring more people onto the team, more people who are kind of managing that workload. So I kind of have a two-part question for that one. What tips can you give as someone who is training new people for the production department, specifically the production report? And what suggestions can you give for production report newbies who've never used it before? What are the tips that you can give them when they're first starting to use it? And we'll go with Brandy first.
Sure. So I have actually, sorry, I just,
perfect. No, you read my mind.
I actually built a training, module for my folks that were onboarding. It was one of the things we did when we decided to start bringing on more order managers. And, but I've also helped train some of our sales reps and things to be able to use these things. So actually just having that in place before someone starts. And what I did to create that was I walked through everything I did for a day and kept notes and then just built from there. And then for people that are starting new, the best thing I can do is try to find out what you're trying to get out of these reports. Like, what is it that you need to see every day, and start from there. So, there's, I don't know how to show it, but there's that little box where you can pick and select what you need to see, get that all from down to what you need, and set those saved reports. And once you do that, it's really easy from there. It's just, to me, it's just like clockwork.
Yeah, and we had conversations too about having to spend some time every day to build out those reports, but having them already built out makes it easy, particularly for new people coming on. You can just kind of have them have that information at a glance, right?
Yeah, so I actually sat down with our new person and showed them how to do it, but then also set those up for them in advance. This is what you need to see, this is what you need to be reviewing. And I think it's less overwhelming for people coming in, especially if they're not from this industry.
Right. What about you, Liz? You're training, so you've got some new people coming onto the production department or already working in the production department now.
Yeah, I think the best tools that we've found to get people comfortable in there is using existing references. The help articles are huge. Those, for a while, I didn't even know those were there. And finding those help articles, and creating test orders almost, and then having people kind of just click through, because it's a fairly intuitive system, giving people the leeway to feel like they're not going to break something if they start playing around and changing things, and playing with that next action date and leaving notes and seeing how it flows through to the different sides between the sales and the finance side. Has been really key. It's just letting people loose in test environments and having them work through it all. And the chat feature. Use the chat feature.
Right. Yep. Support chat. That's us. Come into the support chat. We're always there. I think as well, when it comes to maybe bringing new people on, do you guys kind of find that it's vital for them to understand the first piece of the workflow as well, all the pieces that the sales reps are going to be working on, creating those presentations and sales orders? Is that kind of part of it as well, coming into production? Liz? Yeah.
I think so. Having at least an understanding of what it looks like on the sales side and where the different pieces come into play. So how the orders are flowing from, an opportunity through to presentation, and realizing where things are being edited and how it looks to the client really helps make decisions on the production side.
Right. And I think also kind of flowing into that as well, the conversation we were having about running a production team kind of on your own. For any teams where you've got reps who are doing double duty, the same people who are managing the presentations and the sales orders, having conversations with those clients, are now the people who are coming in and are responsible for the production side of the project as well. Can you speak a little to what the benefit is of having a designated rep or a designated team that is dedicated to production, and that's the only person or the only team that touches it? Liz, we can go with you first.
Totally. I think it's really important to have those boundaries set. Some of it is around, wearing multiple hats throughout the day. You really have to switch between these different set of expectations, and the wearing different hats. You really have to kind of shift between concentrating on this. Okay, I'm working on this. Okay, no, I got to get out of that mindset, and I gotta be client facing. And I know, at least with us, like, part of the draw of using Common SKU is being able to interact with our vendors, like with promo standards especially. It takes out a lot of the kind of like dry day-to-day updates and really helps us focus on building the relationships with our vendors. That's really important to us. So having that kind of mentality all day, every day really helps people grow in that. And, we kind of have a bit of a joke around it with, are you in sales? Okay, don't worry about it. Go sell. That's what you need to worry about. On our side, we're going to manage production. We're not going to talk to your clients. We're just going to make sure that everything is running as smoothly as possible on the production side. It's the whole reason we're here. And it kind of just, it helps set the expectations a lot better.
Totally. I think we may have lost Brandy, guys. I think we're working from home. I don't have her visual anymore. Working from home, I think we all kind of have to rely on home internet. So we'll be patient. Hopefully she can jump back in with us. Kind of in the meantime, one of the other things I wanted to ask you about, Liz, you and Brandy both, I think in your respective companies, you manage huge volumes of orders on a daily basis, particularly when you're a one-person show for all of production. It's a crazy amount of responsibility. Is there something that you do in Common SKU every day to give you peace of mind? Is there something that helps you kind of manage that big workflow just to kind of give yourself a little bit more peace of mind on it?
Yeah, definitely. There's a couple things. I use the set reminders. So setting reminders to specific people, whether it's myself, my production manager, one of the sales team, or somebody in finance, helps things pop up at a specific time, which really helps. And leaving so many notes on the PO overview. So if it's just for me to kind of remember what's happened with an order, or so that a sales rep can pop on and get a quick overview of what's going on. If they're on the phone with a client and they just need to know quickly one-off what's going on, having all that information documented there. Plus, being able to look back at an order and, have a historical overview. If something went a little awry, I can use that to kind of customize how we're going to approach things differently next time. And especially since the new report has been in, there's a fun new hot tip we've been using that I think is super, super helpful.
Cool.
We set a report called for client approved in the proof section. So closer to the end of every day, maybe like 3:30, 4, we pull that report, and it gives us a sense of everything that has been approved by the sales reps or the clients that we maybe haven't had a chance yet to tell the vendors that they're good to go on. It kind of just is that extra catch things before they fall through the cracks. And we found it's been hugely helpful in making sure that every day we're like just surveying that kind of murkier side. Make sure there's nothing missing.
Totally.
Welcome back,
Brandy. Welcome back, Brandy. Can you hear us okay? That's okay. We'll give her a couple minutes. As soon as her audio pops back in, we can go backwards a little bit and ask those questions. The next piece I kind of wanted to talk about as well has to do with those supplier relationships. I think other than the client experience, the bread and butter of the industry is that relationship between distributors and suppliers. And I think that especially the production team, they tend to be at the forefront of that. So do you find that being on Common SKU has helped to kind of, particularly with all the different production features that help it communicate with your suppliers, do you think it's helped to nurture those relationships? Do you think it's made the communication a little bit more streamlined?
Yeah, definitely. Especially the promo standards integration. Like, that's something that we've been huge with trying to encourage our like key partner suppliers to be using, because it really takes away so much of the like the annoying back and forth stuff. When I call a vendor, I don't want to only ask them about tracking updates or when my proof is coming. You know, I kind of want to just like get to know them a bit more and make sure that we're doing everything we can for positive client experiences. So having those things in commonsku cuts out so much time and so many emails. I just click on that button and it gives me kind of the order update, which is huge. I think also being able to have all the information and kind of timing expectations that come through on the PO as soon as that gets submitted, like that PDF goes through email, and it cuts back on the amount of back and forth in terms of, you know, well, when did you actually need this? Where is it going to? Like having everything laid out in that way that our vendors are used to now. It just, you know, they call me when there's a problem or when we get to talk about something fun instead of what color did you need the t-shirts? Like everything being there just really kind of streamlines everything for us.
Totally. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Liz. I know that Brandy was having some connectivity issues, but I'm glad that she was able to be here for part of the session as well. We are going to head back to the main stage, guys, in a few minutes for the next keynote. So if you guys want to click on that stage button on the left-hand side, thank you again, Liz, for joining me. This was great. I'm super glad that you were able to do this with us.
Thanks for having me. Bye, everybody.
You're very welcome. Bye, guys. We'll see you back on the main stage.